Greetings, fellow mortals. As always, saying it's just my opinion is for cowards. You disagree with me? That is fantastic. You want to get mad at me? Please do. It greatly amuses me. Now, the beginning of a story is always the most difficult and crucial part. The writers need to establish their characters and the rules of the world they're writing in. All the while, they need to be entertaining enough to bring you back and keep you captivated for the next section of the tale. For One Piece, this is Romance Dawn. While there are slight variations between the manga, anime, and live-action show, the outline is basically the same. The things shown are Luffy's backstory, the section with Alvida, and the fighting of Axe Hand Morgan, and it ends with the introduction of Nami leading into the fight against Buggy the Clown. These first few chapters are extremely important because they set up the entirety of the plot. The themes, tones, and characters are anchored within these first few scenes. If this part does not work, there will not be any more of it, because it would have failed to capture an audience. For other examples, look at Breaking Bad. If season 1 failed, we would not have gotten the rest of the series, Better Call Saul, and El Camino. If The Fellowship of the Ring was a bad movie and flopped, the film trilogy would not exist. The beginning doesn't need to be the best part of the story, but it is the most important part to get people to care.
Honey Badger don't care. Honey Badger don't give a shit, just takes what it wants.
Using the manga as the baseline, One Piece starts out with a short clip of Gold Roger, the Pirate King. After being captured by the Marines, he declares that he left his entire treasure in one piece for anyone to find. It sets up the great era of pirates and Luffy's journey as a whole. We then skip to Luffy's childhood. The first time he shows up, Luffy stabs himself in the face, establishing 3 things about him. 1, he is very, very stupid. 2, he desperately wants to be a pirate to the point that he will do this to impress his idols, and 3, from a young age he can endure a lot of pain. From there, we see Shanks' crew treating Luffy well. While Shanks does tease Luffy, it is obvious to everyone that he's just looking out for the boy. We're shown that Shanks is kind to civilians and doesn't pick a fight because someone is insulting him. There's no point to it in his mind. This and the eventual follow-up where Shanks' crew destroys the mountain bandits shapes Luffy's philosophy for the rest of his life. Of course, there's the Devil Fruit introduction as well, along with the hints of Haki. In fact, this beginning has the biggest foreshadows throughout the series. And that is saying something. As more information is introduced, you can go back to this beginning and see more and more of the small hints that Oda put in at the very start.
Really makes you think.
There are some things that I don't know if I like though. Shanks is the greatest Haki user in the world. He would probably know if Luffy got into the nearby chest holding the Devil Fruit. He would have knocked the mountain bandits out at any point with ease just by looking at them, and he could have destroyed the sea monster with a single movement. With armament Haki, the beast would have broken its jaw trying to bite Shanks' arm off. It does make me wonder if what happens here is intentional. Shanks wanted Luffy to eat the fruit. He allowed himself to lose his arm to teach Luffy a lesson. He was trying to shape the man Luffy would become because he saw a lot of Gold Roger in Luffy. But maybe I'm reading too much into it. After all, Shanks could just be a silly guy when he's not in a fight. But Oda has recontextualized this entire part multiple times throughout the series, so you never know. Immediately after this section of the story, we see Luffy setting out to sea 10 years later, with enough power to defeat the sea monster with ease. His main focus right now is finding a crew, establishing his goal for the rest of the East Blue arc. But then he is immediately caught in a whirlpool. This informs the readers/audience of 3 things. 1, Luffy cannot navigate to save his life. 2, the sea is dangerous and unpredictable to anyone. It does not matter how strong you are. And 3, Luffy has miraculous luck that saves him when nothing other than pure chance comes into play. This establishes a sense of destiny, that Luffy is meant to be traveling the world helping people. In this way, Luffy's strange luck does not come off as a deus ex machina, but an intentional part of the story. It is a great theme that Oda plays with every single arc.
What am I doing with my life? I'm alive! I'm alive!
This leads into Luffy meeting Koby and fighting Alvida. In the anime and live action show, this is basically the real start. It sets many different realizations into the audience. 1. Shanks' crew were the outliers. Most pirates are bad. 2. Luffy is strong enough to handle all generic fighters. In fact, his rubber abilities make him immune to almost all forms of blunt force attacks. The amount of raw force needed to hurt him is insane. 3. Luffy as an adult is super charming and charismatic. My wife loved him from the start. Even if he's stupid, he realizes his shortcomings and has a strict code. He's not the gentle, loving protagonist, but he's the kick in the pants that Koby needs to escape Alvida. While Koby doesn't stick around for long, he is the perfect character for getting to know Luffy at the start. Koby does basic info dumps for exposition, all the while being inspired by Luffy, mirroring how Luffy was inspired by Shanks. It starts Koby's journey to follow his dream, setting up an important fact. Almost every single named character is the hero of their own story. Their lives continue on without Luffy being involved. The world changes outside of what Luffy does. He is a catalyst for many different things, but other characters make decisions without him. This is even proven further with Alvida in the future.
What the hell is this?
Finally, the end of the Romance Dawn section of One Piece is all about introducing Zoro. The entire point of this part of the story is to establish that he is Luffy's number 2. They are both absolute morons who get lost and make terrible decisions, but they both have good hearts and care about innocent people. When Zoro ate Rika's food and complimented it despite it being tossed to the ground, Luffy realized this was the type of person that he wanted on his crew. He didn't care about Zoro's reputation. He wanted to see who Zoro was for himself. He didn't even care or know how strong Zoro actually was, or that Zoro fought with 3 swords. Not only did this teach us that Luffy only wants good people on his crew, it goes on to show us that Luffy doesn't care how quote-unquote useful someone is. If Koby didn't want to be a Marine, Luffy would have offered him a spot as well. This subconsciously makes us like Luffy more, all the while we start off by liking Zoro because of the basic principle of him treating kids well. It is the most basic trope of showing how moral a character actually is. This principle is used in reverse to make us dislike Helmeppo from the start by showing him treat Rika like trash. At the same time, Morgan is shown to be even worse by wanting the girl executed. Despite not showing up all that much in comparison to other characters, Morgan is surprisingly important in establishing the Marines as a force. In contrast to his subordinates, who all want to be good people and protect civilians, Morgan stands as a symbol of corruption from his power and his rank. It is the first hint in showing that while many of the underlings are trying to be good, there is a corruption in the world government where someone so evil can have such a high rank. As such, we aren't surprised later when high-ranking Marines are shown to be terrible people. Even the ones trying to be good can't always do it because of the rules and authority they have to follow. Something is fundamentally wrong with this world, and Oda shows it at the very start. And only someone like Luffy can fix these problems. A fighter whose most important value is being free and following your dreams. If not for Luffy's dedication to these morals, Zoro would have never followed Luffy. The backstory with Kuna makes us understand his dedication to being the best swordsman in the world. His rivalry, friendship, and oath pushes him further with an almost physical need. But that doesn't mean he's willing to compromise his own code to achieve it. This knowledge and the following fight with Morgan's forces shows us how immediately on the same page Luffy and Zoro are.
That's beautiful, man.
From there, the wrap-up is very simple. The Marines are overjoyed that Morgan is defeated, demonstrating that there is a way to destroy the Marines' corruption on a fundamental level. The people reward Luffy and Zoro with free food. When requested to leave by the Marines, Luffy makes the point that Kobe and him are not aligned in any way, so that Kobe is free to pursue his own dream. The newly formed Straw Hat Pirates leave beloved by the people of Shellstown, starting the precedent of them leaving the places they visit better off than when they arrived, and showing the signs of Luffy being able to befriend almost anyone. And this beginning section of the story ends with promises of the new crewmate Nami, along with a real threat in the form of Buggy, as weird as that might sound once you get further into the story. While kept at a rapid pace, Romance Dawn accomplishes a great many of things in a very short amount of time. Most of the exposition is accomplished without info dumping. It's dropped on us at a steady pace. It leaves us on a hook that we want to see. We want to know what the third crew member is going to be like. At the same time, it accomplishes the most important aspect of any story at the start. By this point, the readers/audience care about Luffy and Zoro. We want to see them succeed. We're invested. It accomplished so much on a subconscious level that it needs to be admired. In that way, Romance Dawn is as perfect of a beginning as One Piece could get, with the only missteps possibly being some aspects involving Shanks if that isn't expanded on in the future. I'm looking at you, Oda. I am expecting more from this. You're welcome to disagree with me. That's fine. After all, everyone is entitled to their objectively wrong opinion. Please consider giving me a like and subscribing. It would really help me out. And hey, do you like stories about an interconnected world? Then consider giving my Elpicio books a try. They are all connected in some way, but you can jump in at any point, unless it's a series. Then you have to start at the beginning. But I got 3 books out right now and 3 coming next year. You will not have to wait long for content. Either way, thank you. I appreciate you. Do not despair.